matter is resolved in the negative. I now move to general business, notice of motion number 841, standing in the name of Senator Whish-Wilson. Senator Whish-Wilson.
Madam Deputy President, I ask that general business notice of motion 841, standing in my name for today, relating to the conflict in Yemen, be taken as a formal motion.
Is there any objection to the motion being taken as formal? Thank you, Senator Whish-Wilson.
I seek leave to, in lieu of actually suspending standing orders, which I'm prepared to do, I would like to seek leave to make a 2-minute statement.
Leave is agreed for 2 minutes. Thank you, Senator Whish-Wilson.
Firstly, Madam President, and I just direct this at you because it's the Deputy President, it's the right etiquette, but we've had several motions today of what you would classify as complex foreign policy matters that this Senate and this chamber have been very happy to give formality to, such as motion 832 relating to Korea. But if those two men getting together in a room in Singapore isn't complex, I don't know what is. And motion 840 relating to Jerusalem. Happy when it suits the philosophy or the propaganda of people in this chamber, but when something that is not complex, a motion calling for peace and United Nations intervention to prevent a humanitarian crisis in Yemen, which everyone recognises internationally is a very serious risk, especially given what's happened in the civil war in Yemen in the last 4 years. The United Nations themselves have said this is potentially going to be the biggest humanitarian disaster in the last century. And now in the last 48 hours, we have reports of the Saudi-led coalition bombing Hodeidah airport and port in Yemen, which it says in the motion very clearly is the lifeblood of 20 million people who are at risk. This motion simply calls for peace and United Nations intervention, and while I give this motion to the Senate, the UN envoy is actually there at the moment, doing exactly what this Green motion calls on. How is that complex? How is that a complex matter? Is it because the Saudis and the Emirates, as part of the coalition, are two of the nations that we want to sell arms to? Is that because we have a defence policy now that wants to loan $4 billion of taxpayer money to the defence industry to sell these people weapons? Is that why it's sensitive? Is that why it's complex?
Thank you, Senator Whish-Wilson. Your time has expired.